Okay, so we are going to build for our marble roller coaster, paper roller coaster. We're going to build this piece, which can be used for all sorts of different things. It can be used for a sort of like the slide portion, or you could say the ramp portion that goes down. It can be used to make a hill, or you could say like a curve or a hill like this, just depending on how you're going to fold it around. You can do all sorts of different things, like you just kind of move it around, and it's these little tabs right here that allow it to do that. So I'm going to walk you guys through how to use that, and then the next step is I'll show you guys how to make the supports, but today we're going to focus on how to make these. So first of all, you're going to need your paper. The paper it's 9 by 12. So you want to set it up to where you have it, and that's the way that I have it set up, is you're going to have the short end at the top, and then you have the long end on the side. So we're going to make a strip that is 3 by 9. So we're going to start off making one 3 by 9. And so we can get 1, 2, 3, we can get 4 of these out of one piece of paper. So we definitely want to make sure that we're careful, so that way we're not wasting any paper. All right, so first of all, I know usually I say to use the metric side with the centimeters, but today we're going to use the customary side with inches and feet. So very first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut a 3-inch sort of section out of this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take the paper, I'm going to kind of turn it around to where I have the long end at the front here. And I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to put it right at the edge at 0. And I'm going to count down to 3 and I'm going to make a mark right near the top here. All right, so you've got your paper, you got your pencil, you got your ruler, and you're going to need some scissors for this as well. So I make a mark right up at the top here at 3. So I'm going to need at least 3 marks to get a nice straight line. So once I have that, I'm going to go down to about halfway down. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to line that up at the 0 again. The 0 is on the edge right there. I'm going to go over to 3, and I'll make a nice little mark there. So now I have 1, 2 marks at 3 inches from the edge. I'm going to count down near the end here, and I'm going to put a mark there as well, down near the end. Have the 0 right over here at the edge, and then you're going to count over to 3, and now we have 3 nice marks now. Now, once we have that, we can take our ruler and we can go right, connect those marks best you can so you get a nice straight line. And we come right down across it, just like that. All right, so once we have that nice straight line, we can kind of set our ruler off to the side for a second. We're going to get our scissors and we're going to cut down that line. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut best I can right down that line. So here we go. I'm going to cut right down that line. And I'm going to give myself a 3 by 9 section. So that's going to be used in a lot of spaces in this roller coaster, the paper roller coaster. All right, so I have a 3 by 9 inch section. So I had this larger section over here. So this is now going to be, it was 12 by 9, but now I've taken 3 off of that. Now it's going to be 9 by 9 square. But for now, I'm gonna hold on to this. I'm gonna place that over to the side, and I'm gonna focus just on this right here, my 3 by 9 section. So I need my ruler, because now I have to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it into these 3, or I'm going to add in these 3 little sections here. All right, so I want these 3 sections here. So each one of these sections is 1 inch long. So bring this over, I'm going to use my ruler again. And so just like I did before, I'm going to line that up, and it should line up at 0 and then at 3. So I'm going to make a mark, just like I did before, right up at the top. I'm going to make a mark at 1 inch, and make a mark at 2 inches, so at the 1 and 2. So a nice clear mark there. And so just like I said before, we need to have 3 marks to make a nice line. So I'm going to bring this down just about the middle, just like I did before. And I'm going to make a mark at the 1 and a mark at the 2. Bring it down again. and I'll make a mark at the 1 and at the 2. So just like I did before, I have those lines there. I'm going to take my ruler. I want a nice straight line. So I'm going to line those up using the ruler. Take my pencil, drag it across the ruler so I get a nice straight line. You see it there. I'm going to do the same thing over here. A nice straight line. Nice straight line there. And so now I should have 3 sections. 1, 2, 3, and they are each an inch wide. So they're each an inch wide. All right, so next thing I want to do is I want to fold these. I'm going to kind of turn it and fold it. But there's a really easy way to help you fold this, and that's called scoring. So on your ruler, or no, excuse me, on your scissors, even with the safety scissors, what you can do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to take the scissors, and I'm going to go along the edge here, along this line. And so if you go slowly on this, you don't want to go all the way through the paper, but if you just take your scissors and you kind of drag it along the line, that's something called scoring. It's going to make it easier to bend. So now if I take it, it bends really easy. I make a nice crease there. Fold that over. I'm going to do the same exact thing on this side. So I'm going to take the same exact thing and I'm going to go slowly with that. Right across. Oh, kind of went off a little bit. That's okay. All right. So again, I'm going to fold that, make a nice crease. And there we have it. We have the first part of this. Now, it's not going to curve very well. It's not going to do the curves very well because I need these little sections to help kind of fold it. And what you can do is you can tape them together to help kind of hold them in place. So you take some tape and you tape them together to make a ramp or, you know, whatever that might be. All right, so we need to make those tabs. So each of these tabs is going to be just like we did before, they're each going to be an inch wide. So I'm going to take my ruler again. I'm going to use the customary side. And so I'm going to line up right on this line here that I made before. I'm going to go down to it, and it should line up right at the 0. And I'm going to make a line at each of the inches mark. So I have 1 all the way from 0 all the way to 9, but I'm going to mark 1 through 8 here. So make sure that's nice and straight as it can be, and make a mark at 1, at 2, I'm going to hold it in place, 3, 4, 5, and if it shifts out of place, just go back and fix it, line it up with a 0, and you'll be good. 6, oh, see it, now it shifted, 7, and 8. All right, so I go there, and now I'm going to skip down because I don't want any lines here. Notice how I have this. I don't have any lines down in this area because I'm not going to be cutting this area right here. So I'm going to come down to this area right here. I'm going to line it up again. I'm going to use my hands to kind of line it up. All right. My fingers are kind of sticking together. All right. So, kind of cold out today. All right. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I have those marks now. All right. So I'm going to go through here. And now I'm going to what I want to do is I want to make a line across these two, but not in the center. So I'm going to turn my paper. And I'm going to line these up the best that I can. If it doesn't line up perfectly, just try to even it out. So I'm going to make a line here. I'm going to skip past here and make a line. So you can see I have a line here and a line here, but not in the center. So I'm going to repeat that all the way down. So take my ruler and repeat that all the way down. All right, so I got 1, 2, let's do it again. All right, we got 1, 2, and you're going to go all the way down. You want to try to see how it kind of shifted a little bit. So I want to make sure those are straight. So you kind of hold it in place. Now 1, 2. This right over here. 1, 2. And keep going. 1, and 2. And it's okay if it gets a little off. It's still going to work, and the more times you do this, the better you will get at it. And you're going to be using these for a lot of different things. 1 and 2. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now. I have the lines on here. I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to cut into the tab. So I'm going to cut all the way to the line. So now I can fold that tab over, and I've got it to the line. I'm going to repeat that throughout every one of these lines so I can have all of these tabs. All right, so I just go down and I do all of these tabs, and so that will make it to where I can have a nice, it can be a hill, it can be a ramp, it can be a spiral. The spirals are kind of difficult, so if you get frustrated with that, just keep trying and you'll get it. All right, so just keep going through here, keep cutting through. So we got that, cut all the way down, and just take your time with it. Just take your time with it. The more you take your time with it, the better the results are going to be. All right, so I got just 2 more to do. All right, and there you have it. See, not difficult at all. So now I can just go through and I can make a curve. All right, I just use the tape and tape up these little edges. All right, or I can make a ramp that comes down. Just gotta those edges. I can even make one that comes like this. I could maybe tape them together so that I could have a longer version of that. We could do all sorts of different things. You can come around to make it a curve. All right, like it takes a little bit to set that up. So if you're working on the curve, you're gonna really have to spend some time working on that. All right, so that's this type, and the next thing I'll show you is the supports. All right, so good luck.